In this video, I am going to show you how to make just a simple table. It could be a kitchen table, it could be a work table, anything you need a table for. We're going to do this in Sketchup. I love this program. The free version of Sketchup is no longer available, but I have a link below where CNET still has it. So if you get over there, by the time you see this video, it may or may not still be there. And besides, you can still go to Trimble, and I think the monthly subscription for the new version is like $10 or $20, depending on what level you want to go in on. But at least for the moment, you can still go to CNET and grab a copy of this free version. And for me, the free version does everything I've ever needed it to do. So anyway, go over there and snag you a copy if it's still there. But like I said, for today we're going to make us a table, and we're going to use I've been using the millimeter system because I've been designing some little in-scale model things, and they're so small you have to use fractions if you use the imperial system. It's a whole lot easier to do math on a whole number than a fraction. But in today's program, we're going to use the imperial system because I live in America, and over here, when you go to the big box store and buy lumber, we buy it in feet and inches. We're going to take 3 1x12s, and we're going to glue them up to make the top. Now, a 1x12 is actually 3/4 of an inch by 11.5 inches, so we're going to use the actual measurement. So if you try to build this, it'll come out right for you. All right, first thing we're going to do is grab our rectangle tool, and we're going to come down here and we're going to start a rectangle. Okay, now, if you'll notice, that's laying on the ground, so to speak. We want to set that up. Hit your right arrow key, and all of a sudden we now have it sitting up on the correct axis over there. Now, type in, if you will notice down where it says dimensions down here, the long measurement is first. So type in 11.5, comma is our delineator, and then 0.75 for 3/4 of an inch. All right, so now we have the end of our board. Now our table is going to wind up being 34.5 because we're going to use 3 of these pieces side by side at 11.5 times 3, that's 34.5. And we're going to make it 48 inches wide. So grab your push-pull tool, start the process, and type in 48. You don't, if you're putting in inches, you don't have to put in your, you don't have to tell it it's inches. If you're typing in feet, you do have to use your little apostrophe to denote it's a foot. But anyway, type in 48, hit enter. Now we have us a board 48 inches long. Okay, grab your selector tool, and you can triple click this, but sometimes I like to just lasso the whole thing. That way I know I have everything selected. Okay, you want to right click, make group. Okay, now let's go over here and look in our default tray. If you don't know how to set up your default tray, go to your window tab where it says default tray, and you can pick several palettes. In this project, we're going to be using entity info, the materials palette, layers, and we're going to soften some edges. You'll see how we do that in a bit. All right, for right now, let's create a layer for this. This is going to be our top, so hit your plus button under layers and type in top. Okay, now let's go up to our layers palette up here and select top. That assigns this to the top. Now you can prove that work by unticking it. Turn it off, turn it back on. That's the power of layers. We can turn things on and off. Okay, now that we have that into a layer, when you want to edit this board, now that it's a group, you have to double click and you get something that looks like that. Now we can push pull and we can cut the corners, we can do all kind of things. But if we want to move it or move a copy, we have to just click it once and that turns it blue. See how it turns blue? All right, let's go to our move tool. Now, if you look at that move tool, see it right there? If I hit my control key, watch, a little plus comes up under there. Now what that means is I'm going to move a copy of that. Now, anytime you're moving copies and you want to line things up, grab it by the corner. Okay? Click and move. Now, if you will watch this closely, it kind of snaps in place. Okay? All right? So now this one is selected. You see the blue? So hit your plus, hit your control button again, and we get another plus, and watch this. Now we grab that corner, and once again, snaps into place. Now suddenly we have a tabletop, right? Look how easy that was. Now, let's go ahead and deselect that. Let's get our measuring tool, and we're going to make us some guidelines. Let's go in 3 inches. If this line is red, that means you're on plane, you're on that board. And if it's not red, hit your right arrow key. But anyway, type in 3. All right. Let's do that on all the edges. Type in 3. Now this time it's green because you're going front to back. And that would be correct. Left arrow key if it's not green. All right. Now let's get one from this side. Again, it should be green because you're going front to back. If it's not, hit your left arrow. But anyway, now type in 3. Enter. Now this should be red because you're coming left to right. And it is. Type in 3. Okay. Now that we have our guidelines, in order to edit one of these boards, we've got to double click it because it's now a group. All right, double click. Okay. Now, come in here with your arc tool. If you'll notice when I get on that corner right there, see the little X? Now click. Pull that out. And when I get to that X, click again. Mark our corner. Get to the X. Okay, see how it left that little mark there? Get your push-pull tool and watch this. We've rounded off the corner. Isn't that nice? Let's do the same thing down here. All right, grab your arc tool. Find your intersection point. Click. Pull to the edge. My box is messing with us. All right. Click again. Pull to there and click again now. Push, pull. Boom. Easy, right? All right, now let's go over here and let's do this to this board as well. I'm using a space mouse to move this thing around so that I don't have to give up my tool, but you can do this with your orbit tool. You can also do it with the scroll wheel once you get the feel of it. But the first thing we got to do is click off of that other selection and double click this one. All right. You got to double click or this will not edit. Your push pull will not work unless you've double clicked it and get it into the edit mode. All right, grab our arc tool, find the intersection point, click. Okay, now find that, click again. Just think of this is sort of the 3-click method here. Now, let's take our push pull. All right, one more. Okay, get this up close so you can see what we're doing. Arc tool, find your intersection, click, find the edge, click, find the other edge, click. Okay. All right, now we've got our tabletop. Let me fly us in place here. Now, let's click off of that. Take your selection tool, click outside the box. Now, we've got our top. All right, let's go underneath and put some legs on this thing. Now, I'm going to create a lip around. We'll put the, some people call it an apron, some people call it a skirt, whatever it is, we're going to make us a rectangle, and we're going to make it 5.5 inches wide, because you'd buy a 1x6, which comes out to be 3/4 of an inch by 5.5. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to come in, take our measuring tool, go to the edge, click, pull in, and type in 4. Okay, same thing here. Pull in. You want to see green, type in 4. Now, from left to right, we want to see red. Pull in, type in 4. SketchUp is pretty good about staying on plane for you, but if your colors are not green going this way and red going this way, then use your appropriate left or right arrow key. Now, see, that's green. If it wasn't green, I'd hit my left arrow key. But anyway, type in 4. All right, now we have the dimensions of our lip. Okay, let's go in. We want to go in 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. There's several ways you can do this. You could use your offset tool, but one thing about it, if you do it this way, it really is easy to push and pull and make your boards and everything. 0.75, enter. See how you're starting to see the edge of a board there, 0.75. Also, when you use your pull tool, you create a surface that you don't need. And this avoids that. Okay, now let's we'll make our long board, take our rectangle tool, get to that corner right there. See how I'm in that corner? All right. Now let's pull to this corner right here. Now, see how we've made a board there? All right. Let's take that, turn it so you can see what's going to happen. Grab your push-pull tool and pull out. Type in 5.5. Okay. All right. Now, let's grab our rectangle tool again and do the same thing on this side. Go to that corner right there. I'm using my scroll wheel to move in and out. All right. Pull out. Now you can either type in 5.5 again, or you can reference. If you touch that corner, it will make it exactly the same height as that. So I like to use that tool. Now, let's finish this off. Rectangle again. From corner to corner. Grab your push-pull. Pull up and touch that corner. Now, see how everything is the same dimension? Okay. All right, let's do the same thing again. Let's go up here a little closer. All right, now we're getting that coloration in the right spot. Pull up and touch. Okay. Now it did create, because we bounded this interior in here. Let's turn off the tabletop because you need to see this. All right. See how we've got a surface now there that we don't need? Okay, here's what we got to do. Go in, click, and delete. Click that middle surface. Now you get rid of that. Now it appears that for whatever reason we wound up with a hollow place right here. When that happens, go in and put in a pencil line right there. See how that closed in that area for you? Now, let's look at both sides to be sure. All right, now that is actually not a hollow. What we want to do, right click that, reverse faces. Okay, now that just keeps everything the same color. All right. Now let's get rid of those guidelines. Delete guides. Now let's draw. Let's enclose. Anytime you go from the left selecting, you have to enclose the entire object. Okay. Now right click that. Make group. Come over to your layer tab. Let's create, we'll call it the apron, I believe it's called. All right. Go up here to layers and select apron. Now, turn it off to be sure it's working. Okay. Now let's turn our top back on. All right. Now we have us a tabletop and we have an apron. Now comes the legs. Let's build us a leg over here. Our lumber comes in 4x4s, but I think 4x4, it finishes off at 3.5, and we're only going to be talking about a 1/2 inch. But for whatever reason, I like a 3-inch leg. That gives it plenty of heft, but it's a little bit finer. So let's grab our rectangle tool, come under here, pull out, and type in 3, 3. Enter. Okay. Now we can push-pull that. Grab our push-pull tool and let's make it 34 inches high. Type in 34. Enter. Okay. Okay. We have one leg. Let's turn off our tabletop. See, this is the power of layers. We can get rid of that and get it out of our way. Let's take this and first of all, let's make a group. Okay. Lasso the whole thing or triple click it. Right click, make group. Now come over here and let's create a layer that's called leg. Come up to our entity info, find leg and assign it. Prove our work. Okay. Now once you make this a group, what we're going to do is we're going to put a taper on this leg. Once you make a group, you have to double click it to be able to edit it. So there's our double click. Now, let's draw us let's get our measuring tool, come in here. Let's make our taper 24 inches. Start your line, type in 24, enter. What that does is it gives us an intersection point here to start our taper. Now, I also find that SketchUp wants to give you halfway. It'll just tell you where that is once you hover over it. But I think that's a little bit too much taper. Let's go in just an inch. This is 3 inch, so if we want to taper it by 1/3, so to speak. So go in, type in 1. Okay, now we have an intersection point here, and we have one here. Take your pencil tool and let's harden that line. All right, let me pull in so we can be sure we're on that. Now, watch this. When I hover over it, that tells me I can push-pull this surface or I can push-pull this surface. Push across. When you hit your other side, click. All right, neat, huh? Okay, now we have a special problem when we want to taper this other side of the leg. It will not want to push-pull because we have this angle here now. You can only push and pull to parallel surfaces. Once it gets to that where the angle starts right there, your push-pull would stop. Okay? So, what we're going to do, we're going to delineate the part that we want to get rid of. Let's go in, take our measuring tool, let's go in 1 inch. Make sure that line is green. Hit your left arrow button. If not, Type in 1, enter. All right. Now, let's go up here. Make sure you see an X, okay? Click, start your line tool. Go down here, make sure you see an X. Hit your line tool, okay? Now, we need to go across the bottom. Now, as long as our line is red, and if it's not, hit your right arrow key, and that locks it on the red axis, you know you're going straight across, okay? Create that line. Now, come around. We need to do the same thing on this side. Start. Get on your line up there. Start your line. Come down to that junction right there. Okay. Now that we've got lines all the way around, we've delineated that part that we want to get rid of. Now, this is important. Be sure you draw a line right here, because if you don't, you will run into problems. What'll happen is when you delete these lines that we're fixing to get rid of, if you don't have a line there, it'll get all of this, and you don't want that. All right, now, come around so we can see it. Take our erase tool and just erase those lines right there. Now, there's a line over here. You got to get rid of it. All right. Now, see, we've got a double taper. Square on the bottom. It's tapered on each edge. All right. Okay. Don't forget that line right there, because if you don't draw that line, it'll give you problems. All right, let's get out of that box. We now have, let's get rid of our guidelines, delete guides. We have a tapered leg. Now, here's what we've got to do. Let's put in our apron, turn our apron back on, because we've got to know where to put the legs now. Now, rather than go through making all those legs again, first of all, select your leg, get your select tool, click once, okay, see how it's selected? Come in here, grab your rotate tool, okay? Now, we want to work from the corner. See how it's on the corner? Make sure your protractor is blue. If it's not, hit your up arrow key, because you want to go around the blue axis like that. All right. Now, we want to make a copy of that, so hit your control. See how the little plus comes under there? Now, click, pull out, and you'll get a little string. In fact, let's do it around here. All right. Now, I have to click again, okay? See how I'm making a copy, but I'm also rotating it? All right. Make sure it says 90 degrees down here, okay? It sort of snaps into 90 degrees, but if it doesn't, type in 90 degrees. Click again. Now we have a copy that we can move, okay? Get our move tool, hit your corner, click, and it starts the move. Now, we want to put it in that corner right there. You want your taper to the inside. See how it's tapered to the inside there? You want both tapers to the inside. Now, this is already selected. Let's grab our rotate tool again, hit our control key, make sure your protractor is blue, and put it on that corner. Click. Now this time we want to rotate back this way, because we want to turn these into this inner part. Okay? So, pull your string out, click, go around 90 degrees. Make sure it says 90 down there where it says angle. Click, get your move tool, grab that corner, Go over and snap it in. So let's snap in. Okay. Okay, now come over to this one. It's already selected. Get your rotate tool. Be sure to hit your control key because that makes a copy. Moves a copy. All right. Pull out your string. And I like to start it right along here on that line. Click. You're rotating a copy. Make sure it says 90 down there where it says angle and click again. Now it selects this one. Go get your move tool. And let's move a copy. Snap it in that corner. We've got 4 legs. Now let's click off of that. Let's turn on our tabletop. Well, first of all, let's look at our legs. Make sure that the tapers are to the inside. And they are. All right, now turn your top back on. And we have a table with tapered legs. But now notice something here. We've got a little line right there. We want to get rid of that. So let's select this board. Let's go over here. Right click. Soften and smooth edges. Okay. See how it got rid of that for us? Okay, we have to do it on this side too. Click. Right click. Soften edges. All right. Okay. Now, got to do that to our legs too. Select. Make sure it's selected. Soften edges. All right. Go under here. Select. Soften edges. All right. Select. Soften edges. Now, do the same thing over here. Select. Soften edges. Now we can do one more thing. You don't have to do this, and depending on how powerful your computer is, sometimes it slows it down a little bit. But if you've got a modern computer, and most of us do now, go over here to your materials palette, and you will look in this little drop down, and you will find wood. Now, you can use the wood that has grain, but the problem that you're going to have is look good on the top, but I don't know how to orient the grain any other way. It tends to want to run across the leg instead of down the leg. So what I do is I just choose this wood board cork. All right, when you click that, you come up with a little paint bucket, and watch this. Just click, click, click. All right. Everything that's a group, it'll paint the entire group. Okay. So we can paint the whole thing rather quickly. All right. Now look at that. Let's get rid of all our guidelines. Edit, delete guides. Now, let's admire our work. We have a table with tapered legs, painted. Now, if you want to build this, you can also, let me show you. Get your dimension tool right here, and watch this. Now, this is a neat. Let's turn the tabletop off. Get it where we can see something. What we want to do is start with the legs. All right, now we've got our dimension tool. Hit that corner right there. Go to that corner right there. Now, see that? It tells you, because you told it to be 2'10". There you go. Now, you can also get your dimension of the top there. All right. pull out. So that lets us know that we're 3 by 3. Okay. Any place you need a dimension, you can put it. All right, let's go apron. We want to know this board right here, so we'd have to come from, well, since we already got some labeling there, let's come over here. Might not confuse us so much later. Pick that inside corner and go to this inside right here. See, that tells us how big to make that board. All right, let's go from this corner to that corner, and that tells us how wide our board is. All right. Now, let's put our top on. Let's get the dimensions of our top. See how easy this is? Suddenly, you'll be able to just go down to your shop and build this. Okay, dimension tool. Well, let's use that middle board. That's got a rounded edge on it. This will tell us how wide our boards are right here. 11.5. Well, then we get our length. Okay, keep things from. Now, I think in order to get that dimension where we're rounded, let's put us a guideline and move it just a little bit, and it throws a guideline out here. Now, let's see if we can dimension that. We can. All right. Okay. Pull out. Now we have dimensions. We have the dimensions of our entire table. Now, let me show you a neat thing. Go in here, turn off everything. That leaves all your dimension markings. Now, grab your select tool and enclose all. Well, first of all, get rid of those guidelines. Now, let's enclose all of that. Okay, come over here, and you can make a layer for your dimensions. All right, go up, find dimensions, assign it, come down here. Now we can turn our dimensions on and off. See? Okay, let's turn everything on. There's our table with dimensions. Let's admire our work here. Okay. Now, a little trick that I've learned before I go up to my shop, what I may do, I will take my cell phone, get me a good angle of that. I will take a picture of that with my cell phone, and then when I get up to my shop, I have it in my pocket with all the dimensions there. You know, if you need to take another angle, take another picture, you know. And if you just want to see the table, go over here, turn your dimensions off. See? Pretty neat, huh? Well, in a roundabout way, that shows you how to make a simple table. You can do it. It's easy. And don't forget, run get you a free copy of this while it's still on CNET. And if it's not there, then just go to Trimble. I think if you want to subscribe to the new version of this, it's about, I think there's 2 levels. One's $10 a month and one's $20 a month. But anyway, I think that does it for this episode or for this video. Thanks for watching.